The night of May 4th was not boring in every sense of the word. While the Russian army continues to successfully bleed the armed forces of Ukraine along the entire line of combat contact, taking control of one settlement after another, the Russian Aerospace Forces, together with missile forces, continue to launch massive missile strikes against military installations throughout Ukraine. So, on the night of May 4th, at least about 2295 MS strategic bombers were lifted into the air. Moreover, an hour later, 7 Supersonic Mig-31K interceptor fighter jets, armed with KINZHAL Hypersonic missiles, were also lifted into the air. In addition, the Russian armed forces also launched about 70 geranium kamikaze drones towards enemy territory. It is reported that the targets of Russian missiles turned out to be military objects, as well as energy infrastructure facilities in cities such as Odessa, Kyiv, Kharkiv, Nikolaev, Lviv, and Sloviansk. Throughout the night, an air alert was heard in these cities, mixed with the sounds of dozens of explosions. Mainly, the targets of Russian missiles and drones were again military workshops, working for the needs of the armed forces of Ukraine, as well as energy facilities that provided energy to these military enterprises. However, against this background, one very interesting fact draws attention to itself. As you know, the Russian army uses KINZHAL hypersonic missiles for a reason. These hypersonic missiles are used only when the Russian command needs to destroy well-protected targets, such as decision-making centers, enemy headquarters, and underground bunkers. It is reliably known that on the night of May 4th, about 3 KINZHAL hypersonic missiles hit and destroyed a well-protected underground bunker in the northwestern part of Kyiv. According to preliminary data, the so-called decision-making center was in this underground bunker. It is reported that officers of the Ukrainian General Staff, together with their NATO colleagues, while in this underground bunker, led missile strikes on the Crimean Peninsula and in particular the Crimean Bridge. By the way, Russian hypersonic missiles hit and destroyed a similar underground bunker also in the southwestern part of Odessa. Unfortunately, there is no accurate information yet on the number of casualties among high-ranking officers of the Ukrainian army and NATO forces. At the same time, it is noteworthy that Russian hypersonic missiles destroyed these decision-making centers immediately after the Ukrainian armed forces launched another missile attack on the Crimean Peninsula and the Crimean Bridge on the night of May 4th. By the way, the Ministry of Defense of the Russian Federation officially confirmed that on the night of May 4th, the armed forces of Ukraine, with the help of American ATACMS ballistic missiles, once again attacked the Crimean Bridge and the peninsula itself. According to the Russian military department, the air defense systems destroyed 4 ATACMS missiles, preventing the enemy from hitting the intended targets. At the same time, the Russian military again did not say which anti-aircraft missile system destroyed the American ballistic missiles. My friends, let me remind you that this is the third attempt by the Kyiv regime to destroy the Crimean Bridge and strategically important facilities located on the peninsula itself. Earlier, Russian air defense systems shot down 11 American ATACMS ballistic missiles over the peninsula, shocking not only Western military experts, but also top Pentagon generals. All this indicates that the Russians have learned to deal effectively with American ATACMS ballistic missiles. Moreover, the successful destruction of ATACMS ballistic missiles led American military experts and analysts to assume that the Russians had deployed the latest S-500 Prometheus air defense systems in Crimea. Many American military experts are confident that the air defense of Crimea has become invulnerable only thanks to the Russian new generation air defense system. The fact that the Ukrainian General Staff and its NATO military advisors will continue to try to destroy the Crimean Bridge and strategically important facilities in Crimea is beyond anyone's doubt. According to preliminary data, on the May holidays, the Kyiv regime plans to launch a combined massive missile attack on the Crimean Bridge and the peninsula itself. It is reported that dozens of Anglo-French Storm Shadow cruise missiles and American ATACMS ballistic missiles will be used during this attack. The Ukrainian General Staff and its NATO advisors hope that this massive missile attack using various types of Western missiles will help overload Russian air defense systems located in Crimea and near the Crimean Bridge. Against this background, the representative of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of the Russian Federation, Maria Zakharova, officially stated that the missile strike on the Crimean Bridge would provoke Russia to a harsh retaliatory response. First of all, I want to warn Brussels, London, and Washington that any attempts to destroy the bridge over the Kerch Strait are not only doomed to failure, but will also force Russia to inflict a crushing blow of retaliation on its enemies, Maria Zakharova said. At the same time, she stressed that Russia is well aware that the armed forces of Ukraine are waiting for American F-16 fighter jets not to fight against the Russian army on the battlefield, but for future attacks on the Crimean Bridge. It is reported that the armed forces of Ukraine should receive the first American F-16 fighters after the Orthodox Easter holiday, which will be celebrated on May 5, 2024.